everyone. Thank you for watching and listening to another episode of the Podacity with Keita Rose. Here we dare to use our voices, have the audacity to own who we are, and vow, raise up your roses. We vow to never stop, never shrink, and most importantly,
Never! Shut up.
ever. It's not going to happen. Like, share, subscribe, talk shit in my comments. Tell me how you really feel. And I'm going to tell you guys what I feel about PTSD and how this topic has just been sizzling in my head, in my soul, in my spirit for a long time now. It's been like a week and a half. And I just haven't really wanted to talk about it. Like, I just don't want to talk about much, to be honest with you. And before I get on to PTSD, I'll tell you that I haven't been posting much on any platform because I've been taking like a digital detox is what I've now, read that this is what this is. It's a digital detox because I realized that I'm getting too much dopamine. Every time I'm bored, I want to scroll. I cannot eat a meal without listening to a podcast or watching a podcast on YouTube. Smoke, I always thought about rolling up or smoking or drinking or leaning to a vice. And, at first I was like, well, that's just addiction. It's just addiction. I'm just addicted to it because these things do have addictive, qualities. Smoking, you might be addicted to the nicotine, to the tobacco, the feeling that you get whenever that smoke enters your lungs. Vaping, drinking, alcohol is very addictive. Scrolling on social media is very addictive. That's why you catch yourself doom scrolling for hours and hours and hours. Listening to podcasts sometimes are very addictive. If you clean the whole house like I do, I will listen to a podcast for 3 to 4 hours while I clean the house. And I had to realize, wait, I'm consuming a lot of another person's thoughts and opinions. And even if it's not negative, even if it's not like rap music or something, a podcast that shits on women or shits on men, or even if it's not negative, even if it's positive, I'm just consuming other people's thoughts and emotions and feelings about certain things. And I'm like, enough has to be enough. So I was reading up on why we feel like shit. Why do we feel like shit? And yes, the obvious, the state of the world is terrible. People are quitting their jobs. People feel like everything that we've been sold, this American dream, is a fucking nightmare and it's bullshit and we've been lied to. Okay, we know that. A lot more people are waking up to certain things and saying, no, this isn't right. I don't feel good. It's not well within my spirit. Something's wrong. Okay, right? So people are shifting. There's a shift. There's a transition. But there's this like looming feeling of like, I feel like shit. And if you know me and you know me or you've been following me, you know that I have bipolar disorder. So with that comes spouts of depression. And no. We stand in front of things around here. We don't let life happen. We don't let these things happen to where it's like, oh, I'm just depressed, so I got to sit down for 15 fucking months, years. I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to let life happen. No. We've been, and by we, I'm talking about me and all them people in my head. We've been through too much to allow our depression to win, to allow our emotions to take over. We've been through too much. My first real run-in with depression was after I filed for divorce. And that was when I really realized, like, I can't ever allow this to happen to me again. I was in bed. I didn't get out of bed. I didn't play with my child. My mom and dad stepped in and they helped me with my son at the time. I had these blackout curtains, and that's when I first discovered and fell in love with blackout curtains, which I don't use now because of this reason. I had blackout curtains that would make the day look like night. So I would be it'd be like 2 p.m. and it would look like midnight in my room. I binge watch things like Vampire Diaries, shit I normally do not watch. I binge watch those things because I did not want to live, because that's what depression is. It's the living. It's like, I would call it like the disorder of the living death, because you're alive, but you're dead inside. You are dead. You don't take pleasure in anything. You don't enjoy anything. You don't like how anything looks. You don't like how anybody looks. You don't want to talk to anybody. All you want to do is cry. And you start to partake in certain things like alcohol or drugs or different things like that. and you start to move reckless and act reckless, sometimes some of us, right, by drinking all day long and not eating, or just moving reckless because deep down inside you hope that it takes you out. This is going to be I didn't put a trigger warning in the beginning of the episode, so I'll say it right now. Trigger warning. So you hope that it takes you out. And so if you've ever dealt with depression, then you know that once you have that feeling, I think that lasted like 6 to 7 months. And I'm the one that filed for divorce. So that's when I realized that good decisions, because I do not regret filing for divorce. I think that was the best thing that ever happened to me, myself, my career, my life, my child. Not to say that there's anything wrong with my ex-husband, just to say that two people that don't align, that aren't equally yoked, should not be together, because that is a recipe for disaster. So it's not a, he was this and he did. No, it was just more of a, We were young as hell and we shouldn't have done it, but we did it. And I'm glad we did, because there's a lot of like learning that I got from it. A lot of it, I learned a lot from the experience. 0 out of 10 would not recommend. And so that's when I learned that you can feel bad about making good decisions, and good decisions feel bad at first. And you can't allow these feelings to override what you know to be true in your reality. That's also where I figured out that, once you make a decision for yourself, once you decide to choose yourself, your body, your brain, your soul, your spirit will always want to draw you back into what was familiar before, because it felt familiar. You know it. And that's when I learned about the fear of the unknown. The unknown is scarier than the unknown hell, or perceived hell, is scarier than the hell that we know. We know this is hell. This relationship is bad. This job is bad. This friendship is terrible. This living situation is horrible. The way that I'm treating myself, what I'm eating, what I'm doing to myself, it's bad. It's terrible. It's tearing me the fuck apart, but I know it. I know how I'm going to feel in the morning after drinking 5 glasses of tequila. I know how I'm going to feel. I'm going to feel like shit. I know it, but I know what I'm going to do. Take a couple of Tylenols. I'm going to drink this remedy. I'm going to go to Starbucks and get me a medicine ball. And then I'm going to try to walk it off. I'm going to go to the sauna and I'm going to sweat it out, and I'll feel better for the next day. And then when the next day hits and reality hits, I'll do it all over again. But it's okay, because I know what to do the next day. That's just what addiction, that's just what this negative mind frame and negative mindset is, right? It's just like, I know what to do. I know this hell. Life is crazy, because every day you're learning new things, and every day you're experiencing new things about your mind and about how the brain works and about why people do what they do and why we act the way they act, the way that we act. And it's like, I know I went off on a tangent, and I'm going to get to PTSD, but it's just crazy. If you're not bipolar or don't know anybody bipolar, we take pride in how long it's been since we've had episodes. Just like an alcoholic will take pride in how long it's been since they've had their last drink. It is an accomplishment. So I feel myself getting down, and I don't understand why, because I've experienced so many good things. Good things have happened to me. I've gotten opportunities, and I've met new people, and like, life isn't bad. Nothing has happened. I'm still in my relationship. I'm not facing a separation. Like, I'm good. I don't understand. My mom, dad, family, friends are healthy. They're thriving. They're living. Good things are happening to them. What is wrong with me? And then I realized, as I'm reading and as I'm watching, these videos, I'm like, okay, I'm having too much dopamine. One of the things that I read is like, have you ever been bored? Like, when's the last time you've been just bored? And I'm like, I can't think of a time that I've been bored. I'm not bored. We have phones and we have iPads and we have things that make sure that we're not bored. And then if I don't have those things, I'll smoke. When I don't have those things, I'll just have a drink. When I don't have these things distracting you from reality, because that's what it is. It distracts you from reality, right? You feel like your reality is bad. I'm bored. I'm not doing. So then these thoughts seem to arise, right, in your head, and you start to think like, why am I not fulfilled? Am I even supposed to be doing this? I can't stand my house. Maybe it's the way that I look. I don't like myself. I don't like my friends. You have all these negative thoughts because you feel like your reality should be different. But it's not that your reality is bad. It's not that your reality should be different. It's that you're constantly escaping reality. And so we do need to be careful with what we are consuming or with how much we are consuming. Because if you're sitting down and you're doom scrolling for 3 hours and your algorithm knows that you really enjoy people that travel or people that do this or people that have, aesthetically pleasing houses because they're rich and they have cars with the RR in the back of the seat because they got Range Rovers and Rolls Royces and da 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 da. Get offline, and when you don't have that dopamine hit, you're going to be like, oh, my reality is so bad. I've got to make this better. I've got to feel better. So what I started to do was like, no, I'm going to push myself to get off the internet. Not to say I didn't even doom scroll that much, but like 2, 3, 4 hours a day. And when I say a day, I'm talking about like 15 minutes in the morning and then 30 minutes in the afternoon and then 2 hours at night. But you're still consuming so much that it's like 3 to 4 hours of your day has now just been given to watching other people live their life and you're not living your life. And then on top of that, if you have other addictions, smoking, a lot of people like to shop. I'm a shopper. Then you're wasting all of your time and money in department stores and retail stores. I know women that like to have sex. I've got to go. So then they're spending all their time casually dating so that they can get to know somebody just enough so that they can sleep with them. Like, I know that does happen too. And it's like all we want is that hit of dopamine, hit of dopamine, hit of dopamine. And so if somebody does present you with the idea of, why don't you just go outside and take a walk? And then after you take a walk, you cook yourself a meal or a meal for your family. Then maybe all of you guys get together and play a game, not a game on the phone, but like a game, like a physical Monopoly or Connect 4 game. Why don't you take shit back old school before we had the opportunity or before we had the ability to scroll on our phones over and over again? Why don't you take it back? That seems like hell. That seems like hell. And as I'm thinking about it, I'm like, no, that isn't hell. That's what our lives was before we had all this shit, and it's crazy. I'm sorry, like, I know I sound crazy to just the people listening. I probably look even crazier to the people watching, but it sounds like hell, and it's crazy because this is what my parents used to say, and I used to be like, nah, y'all are just old. I used to be like, y'all are just old as hell, and that's the thing. You guys are old, crusty, decrepit. Okay? You guys don't understand technology. And that is why you feel the way that you feel. But like, no, they were around when things were one way and they gradually saw how things changed. And so they were able to see the effects of these things and how they affected people. You're able to sit back and you're able to see it once enough time has passed, right? And so when our parents say things like that, it's that damn phone. I'm like, everything is not the damn phone. It is the damn phone. It's the damn phone. Oh, shit. They were right. They're not just old. Or maybe I'm old. Fuck. Oh, but that's okay. I'm okay with being old. So I'd rather be wise. I want to be one of them old wise bitches with a whole bunch of rings on every finger, long nails, nose ring, gray hair. I can already envision like how I'm going to look when I get older. I can't wait because I'm going to be such a bad bitch. Oh, I love it. I'm going to have that Cruella thing going on where it's going to be like, my hair's going to be black, but I'm going to have that gray thing going on. Titties perked. I don't know if I'm going to buy some. I might. I don't know. I can't wait. But anyways, it's the phones, right? It's the dopamines. I was wondering, I realized that I felt so sad because I felt like my creativity was broken. Like I don't feel creative anymore. I don't really feel like creating. I don't feel like doing anything really. I just don't know. And it's like, it's because you're consuming your whole life looking at what other people are doing or distracting yourself from reality. What is life? It isn't hell to go out and walk. It isn't hell to read the newspaper or to read a magazine or a book. It shouldn't feel like a punishment, but yet it does. At least for me it did. And so I said, no, I'm going to force myself to do very, very difficult things. And it's been difficult. When I stopped smoking weed, nothing was funny anymore. And then I thought to myself, damn, was anything ever funny? But I remember being young and laughing at everything because I think everything is funny, even things that aren't funny. So I know I have a sense of humor. I know a very, sometimes very dark. Everything's heightened when you're under a substance. So everything's funnier when you smoke weed, and everything's better when you drink. I stopped going out because I'm realizing that, like, as I'm really, really listening to my friends, I'm really listening to them when we're out to drink, when we're out going out and we're having a drink, and they're like, what they're saying, right? It's a joke. I fucking hate my job. I need to get a drink to take the edge off. I fucking hate this man that I'm married to. God, give me a drink to take the edge off. Girl, I need 2. Give me 3 margaritas. Like, we're joking and we're laughing, but if you really hear what they're saying, I hate my reality. So I need an escape right now. That's what they're saying. Like, I hate this reality. So then I really, I'm deep diving and I'm realizing that we create our reality, of course. And I know that, but do I really feel that way? We create our reality, but we're constantly trying to escape it. So what do we need to eliminate, or what do we need to add to make our reality better? Well, first, we need to take away the vices. We need to take away the things that help us distract from the reality that we're in. And for me, it was smoking. Okay, fine. Drinking. All right, cool. I'm so pissed off. Because my therapist is like, well, quit coffee.
Bitch, what? You quit coffee.
She's like, I don't drink coffee. Why do I have to quit coffee? She's like, well, the caffeine's stimulating your brain. It's a stimulant still. You're still stimulating yourself, and caffeine is addictive. So you're probably addicted to the caffeine. So every morning, I'm not going to lie to you. I want to be very transparent. Every morning, I look forward to my cup of coffee. That is what genuinely gets me out of bed. I love my son. I love being a mom. I promise you I do. But it's not like to wake up to my son's smiling face. It isn't to talk to my boyfriend. It isn't to listen to my friends, or maybe watch that thing, or maybe grow out my garden and watch how all my plants are. No, fuck no. It's my cup of coffee in the morning. I've got to drink my cup of joe. Everything is addictive, and I'm pissed off about it. I'm really upset. I'm glad I got to vent, y'all, because I know y'all were like, well, that's not what you said this episode was about. Whatever. I'm upset. So I'm not going to stop drinking coffee right now. I'm not going to lie to you, because this is the only thing holding me. But what I did start to do is I'm going to read. I started to read before bed so I don't scroll. I started to read in the morning before I scroll. I don't want to scroll while I'm in bed. I make up my bed. I clean my house. I cook actual food instead of going out. I go to the gym, and I know for a fact in 30 days to 6 months, I'm going to be one of those people that are like, this really completely changed my life. I love this. You guys have got it. No, right now, I'm in the thick of the shit. I'm into the thick of it. I'm not doing well, okay? Because I'm extremely bored. And it pissed me off to think about how many things are addictive. It really pissed me off when she's like, oh yeah, got to get rid of coffee too. No, I've done everything. I'm not one of them. Y'all, if you know me, you know I'm not freaky. I'm not freaky at all. Okay. So I'm a very level 2 freak. That means me and my man get to experience what we experience, and that's about it. So I don't go out and I don't have sex, and I don't even watch porn. I used to way back in the day when I was like younger. I used to watch porn, 23, not all the time. That wasn't even addicted to me. I couldn't imagine. It's crazy to me how people can be addicted to porn. You just want to see people fucking all day. But then again, I bet it's crazy to people who don't drink coffee why I need my cup of joe every morning. I need it. I don't know, you guys, but I know eventually I'll break that habit, but you know what? Baby steps. So I'm breaking habits, and I did a digital detox, and I'm not going to lie and say that I don't feel a lot better. I do. I don't have this like feeling of doom and gloom over me. I feel a lot better. But I'm saddened by the fact that I even had to push myself to go through these links to feel better. Because everything is addictive. Sugar, sex, porn, coffee, smoking, drinking, vaping. That's an American diet. Anyways, let's go on to PTSD because this has been really sizzling in my spirit. PTSD is real. If you know me, then you know I spent 5 years in the American military, right? I was in the US Army, I was in Intel. So my job as a 35 mic was to interrogate. Cool, 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 cool. I seen a lot of shit in the military, and I was one of those people that said, I want to go to school for free. Because it's just really unfortunate that in order to go to school, you either have to risk your life or drown in $150,000 worth of student loans. I didn't want to. I don't like debt. I don't like financial debt. I get a lot of anxiety when it comes to money. I don't ever want to be broke. I understand when NBA Youngboy said, never broke again. He made it his name. He said, never broke again. I will never be broke because I just, nope. So I don't do debt. So I decided to just join the military. My parents were in the military. My grandparents were in the military. I might as well join the military. Cool, I did it. So I'm not talking about that PTSD, but I will reference it because when you think about PTSD, I think people understand it when they think about the soldiers who went to war and they came back. And around the 4th of July, you'll see signs that are like, please be mindful of the soldiers that might have, experienced PTSD from the war, because firecrackers will take them back to a time where they heard gunshots and where they saw their battle buddies die, when they saw their platoon mates die, right? And if you've never seen a person die, then you're not going to understand that feeling. So even though you're enjoying this, please be mindful of the people that, have experienced some trauma back in the day. Post-traumatic stress disorder. After the traumatic event brings me stress disorder. Right now. It happens right now. Cool. I want to talk about it because me and my friend the other day were talking about commitment and fear of commitment, right? And I've never had a problem really committing to someone. I just don't really get that. I don't get the people that are afraid of commitment when it comes to relationships. But I have experienced commitment fear when it's come to like career path. What's my career going to be? What should I pick? Am I picking the right career? I experienced that a lot in college where I changed my major a million times because even though I knew in my spirit what I was supposed to be doing and what I'm naturally good at and what I believe God wanted me to do, I'm like, no, I don't know, because I might be a marine biologist, but also I might pop ass as a stripper. But how do I know I don't want to be an accountant even though I was never good at math? How do I know? I've got to pick them all. I don't know. And so I do understand that feeling of, being afraid of commitment. So a lot of this has been coming up in my life where people are afraid, the people that I know are afraid of dating. They're scared shitless. Dating is scaring the shit out of them. And I don't understand why. But what I like to do is put myself in those people's positions. And I'm like, well, I've had a fear of commitment as well. So where does this fear come from? And then in my mind, it's been playing and playing and playing. It's PTSD. It's PTSD. You've been hurt before and you haven't healed from that hurt. And sometimes even healing, I can't stand when people say things like, just go heal. Just heal. I can tell you're not healed. Come healed. No one can come healed because you don't actually know that you're even triggered by something until a situation happens. You think you're healed because you're smiling and you're going with the flow and you're happy and, you're not crying. You're not having mental breakdowns or breaking down about anything. You don't feel angry or any negative emotion. So you feel like you're healed. You barely even think about it. But that be the thing. We barely think about it. We don't think about it anymore. And sometimes our brain's way of trying to help us and heal us is by forgetting about it, right? You go through the stressful time. You go through that time at war, right? But then you forget certain things and you're moving on with your life and you experience things like getting married and having a child and life happens. And so you have so many things distracting you that you don't ever have to go back to that time unless it's 4th of July and you hear a firecracker. And it takes you back unwillingly, without your consent. Your mind takes you back to that time that you saw that guy die and it freaks you out. Well, a lot of us have been hurt in relationships. A lot of us have been hurt, period. Right? And this goes back all the way to childhood where We didn't maybe think something was that traumatic, like a divorce. It's not that traumatic, but it is. A divorce took me through depression. And if you know, and if you have actually experienced depression, then you know, like I said, it is enough to take you out. So why is it that a lot of my friends are so afraid to date? And I thought about this one in particular who went through a divorce. She got cheated on, which is very traumatic. And people don't think like that. People don't think that being cheated on is traumatic. Because I think about my other friend who her first real experience dating, her first real relationship that lasted her over 8 years was with a married guy. It's real. She wasn't a side, nothing. The wife knew, they talked. And I remember being like, are you is this is this for real? Like, is this a thing? She's like, yeah, it's fine. And I'm like, this is going to be very unhealthy. We were really young at the time. I was like, this is not a good thing. She's like, no, everybody's okay with it. And everybody was okay with it. And within that relationship, there was a lot of abuse, not physical, but like narcissistic manipulation, a lot of jealousy, a lot of, just a lot of things. Right. And like I told you about the other friend, a lot of cheating, which causes, you to have self-esteem issues because you're constantly internalizing things. Why is he choosing her? Why not me? What's wrong with me? What's she got that I don't got? There's a lot of self-hatred involved in that, and loathing and self-doubt, because for some reason we never want to take ourselves out of a situation and look at what's actually happening. Somebody is doing something to you. It has nothing to do with you. What people do to you is a direct reflection of how they feel inside. What we're also not taught is certain things like a cheater, a manipulator, are really insecure. They're fighting something. We're not taught that. As women, we're taught like cheaters, oh, he's just a player, he's just a man. That's not an explanation. That's not a description. That doesn't even make sense. No. He's insecure. He lacks self-discipline. He's out of control emotionally. Right. And so but okay, I won't go there. Not this episode, but we will be deep diving into that too. And I was like this, and I'm looking at everybody and I'm like, they have PTSD. It's like past traumatic situations that you didn't think were trauma because they weren't so big, right? Is showing up in the way that you move today. The things from your past is showing up in the way that you move today. What I'm pissed off about is I hear a lot of therapists now, because I follow a lot of therapists. I love therapy. I love psychology. I like these things. I follow a lot of therapists, and what I've been seeing lately has been people saying like, everything's not traumatic. Everything is not traumatic. And it's like, you know what? Everything isn't traumatic, but things can trigger things that were traumatic to you in the past. Me screaming at you might not be traumatic. It can take you back to a time in your childhood where your mother would scream at you before slapping you, or scream things at you like you're nothing, you're useless, you're a burden, I wish I never had you. Things like that. It can trigger somebody. So no, everything's not traumatic. I can't stand, especially when I see therapists talk like this, right? Because it's like they're annoyed. It's like they're annoyed at having to teach people the things that they signed up to teach people. It's kind of like that cop that when you call him and he shows up, he's like, what's the problem? It's like your whole job is to protect and serve, but you're irritated. You don't actually want to do it. You wanted the title. You wanted the accolades that come with it. You wanted the money that comes with it, but you don't actually want to do the job. You don't actually care enough about people. It's like the doctor who, when you come in, they already seem annoyed. They already seem like it almost feels like you're lying to them. Like it hurts right here, doc. And they're like, where does it hurt? Okay, so how do you know? How do you know it hurts there? Because I feel it, doc. It hurts right here. And it's like, okay, what have you been taking? Are you sure? Is it, it's like they're annoyed. So that really fucking pisses me off as somebody who has relied heavily on therapy and relied heavily on psychology and spiritual. Like, don't get me started on the pastors. But that really makes me mad. So when I see these therapists and different people say things like everything's not traumatic, it's like everything's not traumatic, but PTSD is that trigger. And a lot of us don't even think that we've been through something traumatic, because what they teach us is traumatic things are if somebody beats the hell out of you, if somebody sexually assaults you, if it has to be physical for us to know that it's traumatic, and that's not all the time. In childhood, somebody telling you that you're too much and you need to calm down, you need to shut up, you need to shrink, shrink, shrink. Every day you're hearing, I need to shrink, I'm too much, my voice is not important, I need to be quiet. That's going to cause you to move differently in relationships and friendships and pick certain careers that won't allow you to step out or be outspoken because you were taught subconsciously to shrink, shrink, shrink. Or the kid that was told, like, don't worry nobody with all that. Shh, don't be quiet. Don't bother nobody with all that. You're a burden. You're a bother. You're a bother. You're a burden. Your existence is bothersome to me. And your voice, your words, your feelings, your expressions will be bothersome to other people. You are a burden. They dead ass move like that in their lives, where you'll see the person constantly saying sorry all the time. They're apologizing for their existence, but they don't necessarily know why. And so both of these people have had in my life, both my friends have had these traumatic situations that you don't necessarily think are traumatic. Like, yeah, I've been cheated on, but who hasn't? Or yeah, that was my first real relationship, it was an older man. She was really young. We were in the military. She was very young. And this is an older guy, very much so established, very much so he knows what he's doing in life. And so he's using tactics and manipulation tactics to get the younger girl. And then he's telling her things like, this is normal and this is cool. This is just another way, but it isn't. Right? All these women and wanting them to fight over you, triangulation. He was a narcissist. This is fucked up, and this can fuck somebody up mentally, but because nobody hit you, and because nobody essayed you, it wasn't really traumatic. It wasn't really traumatic. Yes, the fuck it was. Yes, it was. And so I'm going back and I'm thinking like, what from your past did you experience that you maybe didn't think was traumatic? You really got to go back. And I'm hearing, I made a new friend. She's a comedian and she's amazing. And she's teaching me about inner child work. I'm like, well, what's inner child work? And she's like, when you go back to you, right? Because we're all just big ass kids that grew up in old flabby bodies. But you go back and you talk to your inner child and you ask them what they need and you tell them to express themselves. What did you need from me or from an adult back in the day that you didn't get? What type of things did you experience? And I realized as I'm doing this, I always had to fight. Like I always had to fight. In school, the popular girls, they jumped me. I got jumped a lot in school. And so I was never no pussy. And my biggest thing back in the day was like, don't call me scary. When I was a kid, I was like, don't call me anything. You call me ugly, fat, stupid, whatever. I don't care. I don't care about your words. Don't call me scary because I'm going to always show up to a fight. You're not going to hit me or bully me and think that I'm not going to fight. And I remember my first fight, I was so scared. My first fight, I was jumped. It was like 3 girls because in the school that I went to, they jump. And I was so afraid. But I was like, you have to fight back. You have to. If I hadn't really gone back, right, I would have never known to like think about these things. Well, you were bullied. So you always had to like fight. And I never had to fight one group of people. One group of people. I never had to fight a person. It's always somebody gangs up. They always needed another person in order to step to me. Like that's it. It's never been like a one-on-one type situation. Maybe I had a couple fights like that, but like mostly it's been groups of girls, groups of people. And in the military, I remember going against my sergeant who was sexually assaulting another soldier, and I went against him. And I stood up, and there were groups of soldiers that loved him and respected him that would come against me, and it freaked me out. It took me back to that time, but then I didn't realize it, right? So I fought, not physically in the military. I didn't fight for anybody physically, but I fought. I went and did the paperwork. I did what I had to do. I said no. Every time I was asked, I stood up. I told the truth. This is what happened. He did this. I seen it. Like you know what I'm saying? I fought. And so now that I'm thinking about survival mode, I'm hearing this a lot, survival, and I'm being asked a lot, well, how do people get out of survival mode? I'm realizing that our experiences back in the past is what put us in that survival mode anyway, because you had to survive. You had to teach yourself how to get out of this scary situation. Brains can't tell the difference between an actual attack, like a lion coming at you in the wilderness, and a verbal attack. If you feel attacked, you feel attacked. You freeze, you fight, you fawn. Fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. That's what you do when your body's like, attack. Somebody is yelling at you, attack. You're gonna have to step up for yourself and say something and stand up and use your voice, attack. Somebody's trying to manipulate you again, attack. Somebody's cheating on you. It's like, I realize that why they're so afraid of dating, right? Like they're purposely not dating. Casual encounters with men. They talk to certain men, but they're not really trying to get to know somebody, one person, to really get in. They say like monogamy isn't for everybody, and it's not. Cool, that's fine, but they want to be monogamous. They want to be monogamous, and they want to be married one day. They do. And so because I know this, because I know them, I'm like, well, what is all the casual date? Like, what is all this, the multiple people and what's going on? And it's like, I don't want to experience that pain anymore. And when you're afraid to experience the pain, you start to move differently. So maybe if you're afraid to be hurt again or cheated on again, you don't want to make that commitment to anybody because you're going to give them the opportunity to hurt you. And the last time you gave somebody your heart, you give them the opportunity to break it. You just trust that they don't. And they did. So it's scary to you, right? Me, I always had to fight. So my guard is up. It doesn't necessarily mean that I'm paranoid or that I think everybody's out to get me. I never felt that. But when I'm in a situation where I feel like people are ganging up, where people have to come together to take me down, my conscious mind will tell me, hey, people have to gang up to take you down. It's probably because you're pretty fucking strong. If 3 girls had to get together to whoop your ass, it probably meant that one on one, you would have taken them the fuck out. That's what consciously I think. But subconsciously, it's like my body's like, fight. And so how do I get out of survival mode? I give my younger self permission to calm down, to know that if a threat comes my way, I will fight. But I don't always have to be in fight mode. I don't have to fight everybody. I give myself permission to be okay. And I think even back to when I was a kid where I would tell, because they say like tell the teacher, tell the principal, but they wouldn't do anything. And even in the military, you could tell, but who are you going to tell? You can't tell your higher ups when your higher ups are the ones doing it. Who are you going to tell? So I couldn't tell an adult. I didn't have anybody to run to. I only had myself. And so I give myself permission to calm down. I am the adult now. I am the adult. I am the higher up now. And I give myself permission to calm the fuck down. I give myself permission to not fight anymore. And you have to give yourself permission. But first you have to identify the issue. And sometimes that's in childhood. Sometimes it's that thing that we keep on avoiding. Why are you afraid of that commitment? Why are you afraid to really lock into that one boy that you really, really like? Or do you think he's going to do the same thing that the other guy did? Why do you keep choosing the same person, but with different masks? Why do you keep choosing the same person? Because subconsciously, this is what's familiar to us. This is what's familiar. I've always done this. This is what's familiar. I know this pain. But to step outside of that and to do something different will take you to challenge yourself. It'll take you to be disciplined. It'll take you to oh, girl, I fucked that word up. Consciously. Jeez. Say, this is not my past. He is not that guy that cheated on me before. She is not that girl that just drained me of my bank account. Spouse isn't my mother. When she's getting on to me, it isn't my mother. And what about my mother really got to me? And why did she yell at me? And wait a minute, I didn't fucking deserve that. I was a kid, and she shouldn't have said that to me, and she shouldn't have done that to me. And I don't deserve that. I'm the adult now. Right? Like, I'm the adult now. Sometimes we have to become the person that we needed. And even if you were an adult when you needed it, right? Okay, I was grown when I was married. Yeah, but you were too afraid to leave that situation. You were codependent on that person. You were too afraid. But now you are that adult. Now you are that person that says, I can leave any situation that doesn't serve me. I can walk away. Hold on, I have boundaries. And instead of being afraid and stopping yourself from doing these things, we can say we can trust ourselves and honor ourselves to know that we can make the right decision. You don't need to read 10,000 books. You don't need to follow every self-help guru out there. You don't. But you need to know that only you got yourself through that situation. You survived. And when you survive something, you then carry the tools and the knowledge to be able to do it again. I have the tools. I know what to do. I know how to fight, but do I know how not to fight? I know how to protect. You might be one of these people that had to take care of 8 siblings. I know how to protect and provide for everybody. Cool, you got that. Calm the fuck down. That's really hard. Do you know how to provide and protect yourself? So I'm looking at everybody going through these experiences dating, and I'm like, it's PTSD. It's post-traumatic stress disorder. This is causing me stress because of a traumatic experience in my life. And yes, getting cheated on, being lied to, manipulated, dealing with a narcissist, being stolen from, somebody taking advantage of you, even if it's not sexually, is traumatic. And so no, everything's not trauma, but a lot of us are trying to figure this shit out. And you can read as many books as you want, and you can talk to a counselor, sure. But until you really deep dive and write down what it is that you're afraid of, what the fuck am I afraid of? I'm afraid of commitment. I'm afraid to get hurt again. I'm afraid that I'm not smart enough to make the right decision that will allow me never to go through what I went through before. I don't think I'm good enough. I don't think I'm smart enough for that. Yes, you are. You learned. You went through it. Your experience. If anybody else knows how to get you out of that situation, you do. But you have to trust yourself. You have to trust yourself. Our PTSD is causing us to move different. And the decisions that we're making is shaping our reality. You're not a burden. You're not bothersome. Somebody does need to hear your story. Somebody does need to see your product. You do need to put yourself out there. So many people are like, how do I put myself out there? I'm just so scared. You're scared because you don't want nobody to see you. Did somebody from your past tell you that you weren't worthy of being seen? No, and everything's not trying. No. But some things are triggers, and your triggers, unfortunately, are your responsibility. And so we have to identify these things first. So if you're finding that you really long for a relationship, you long for a marriage, you want to be connected to one person, but you just keep moving, you move in the opposite, that's chaos. That's why you feel maybe that you're going insane. Insanity is doing the same things over and over again, but expecting a different result. You're picking the same person over again. You're doing the same things. You're putting yourself in a situation over and over and over again that you have to speak up, but you just won't do it. And your body, your spirit is saying, do it. It's him. Choose him. Only date him. And you're like, no, talk. Finally talk. You're in that board meeting. They want to hear you. They said, does anybody have any thoughts? You have thoughts. Bitch, speak. And you're like, no. Okay. It's okay. You don't have to this time. But one of these days, try something different. Do something different. I say that as I go to the fucking gym tonight. I don't want to. But I'm doing different things, damn it. So thank you so much for watching and listening to another episode. If you made it this far to the podcast with Keita Rose. And until next time, baby, I will holler.